Hello and welcome to the Dead Air Dudes. I'm Izzy.
I'm Raka, and you are Dead Air Dudes Nation, dudes and dudettes out there. Happy Halloween month.
Welcome, Dead Air Dudes Nation. All right, we have a treat for you guys. As usual, we tend to do some of these versus comparison type, videos, and this is, no different except this is chock full and perfect for the Halloween season. As we're going to compare contrast, Let the Right One In from 2008 and 2010's Let Me In, which is the Americanized, you know, version of
And
Let the Right One In.
all of you horror hounds out there, both movies are based on the book. The book titled Let the Right One In by John Lindquist.
Yes, good thing. Good thing you didn't try to spell his middle name or pronounce it.
No, I kind of glazed over that one.
Well,
Don't want to offend anybody.
incidentally, John also wrote the screenplay for Let the Right One In, and that's directed by Thomas Alfredson, starring, here we go, Care Hedebrand as Oscar, and Lena Leanderson, who plays Ely. And, Per Ragnar, I think, who plays the older gentleman, I'm not sure, and, the rest of the cast. While, of course, in the remake or the reimagining, Let Me In, you have Cody Smith McPhee, I think his name is. Right?
Okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah, Cody Smith McPhee and Chloe Grace Moretz. And that's actually directed by Matt Reeves, who also wrote the screenplay, in addition to also John Lindquist. So let's start off with the original. Raka, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, so the original, Let the Right One In, opens up with the introduction to the father figure, who we're led to believe the father figure
Wait,
person.
you in the original, or
Yeah, in the original.
yeah, in the original, we are introduced first to Oscar.
Oscar, and
Yes, and
um,
see him how he's a troubled kid
what he do?
who's bullied, and he's kind of an outcast in school, and that's when he's a complete sidebar. Watch it in subtitles. Don't watch the dub version. Okay.
Most dub versions are disappointing. Not to say the least, it robs from the value of the movie.
Exactly. So at this point,
But
the kid, he's playing around with the, he's something like little piggy, make you squeal, stuff like that. Take it away.
and so he's bullied, and then I believe she comes to his rescue. But what's interesting is if he's an oddball, he finds out shortly she's more of an oddball.
Yeah. The thing is, if you want to take it from the top, when we are introduced to the kid Oscar, we see how deeply troubled he is, and as soon as that happens, that's when Edie and her father, quote unquote, move in next door to them. When he's outside,
And the windows are taped up.
exactly,
The windows are taped up, and
he's in a big trunk, and it's like a whole,
and there's a smell.
Yeah, Oscar looks it's very strange. Later
And he
on,
said, "You smell funny."
yeah, later on, Oscar, because there's this playground in which,
And it's cold.
Yeah, well, it's snowing and there's snow drifts everywhere. It's freaking, And
And as opposed to now, our first differences, as opposed to in the reimagined one, The setting is different. It's in America,
in the 80s.
and it's in the 80s. Why that's done, I'm not quite sure. As
I
opposed to
think
being more modern,
they said it.
2010,
I think they said it
2013.
in the 80s, so you have the issue, or that you don't have to deal with cell phones, you don't have to deal with any technology really, and you keep it grounded in the 80s, where it's still kind of current but not really, and so, and that in the Americanized version, that's where it's actually set a little further. It's like it starts off middle of the movie when you see
Right.
what happens, and then it reverts back to 2 weeks before. That's where,
I,
like you mentioned.
do you particularly like that? Sometimes that works well
I mean,
because now you have to go to a deep flashback.
I think it's so played out. It's so played out now that it works sometimes, but I think now it's. I don't. I just think it was this. It was just a change, just for change's sake. I don't think it really makes a difference whether or not.
Otherwise, you'd be remaking the same movie word for word.
Yeah, but then again, but that's essentially what they did. I mean, except there's dialogue lifted directly because I actually watched them both recently, and to see the changes. And dude, when I say that there's complete scenes of dialogue where
Word
it's
for word.
lifted word for word. I mean, of course, there's other scenes where some of the dialogue in the American version is um they add a little more, which kind of gives it a little more oomph, you know what I mean? But you know, it worked. And also what threw me off, if you see, even though the ages are probably similar, they're supposed to be 12 years old. Okay, in the original, the kids look 12 years old or very close to it.
Yes. She looked rather young, I would say. The two
And
characters.
in the American version, we all know that at least, I think, at that point, Chloe was 16, and the kid could probably, they looked older. They looked older. Not too much older, maybe
I'm a fan of
14,
Chloe and her work.
16.
She's a good actress.
Oh, she's a very good actress.
Gone to do Kick-Ass and so many other movies. So let's focus now on one difference here.
Go for it.
The father.
Yes.
So in the book, the father figure, the one who's a caretaker, I guess. In the book, it's out there. It's more of a very pedophile relationship.
Now, for all
And
those who haven't watched the movies, this is not in any of the movies. So this is
no,
just
it's a
directly
little
the
bit
book.
implied.
Yeah.
It's a little bit implied in the movie um, Let the Right One In. And it's not at all, they didn't even go there with Let Me In.
Yeah, no, they actually pretty much spell it out that he. How can I put this? We know what the spoilers abound. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, he's
They
a guardian type.
He's a guardian, but that he in his former life or earlier on, he knew her when they were kids, and he
It's a friendship that
was
blossomed.
he was her boyfriend. He was her husband, whatever, her lover. And
But
obviously, she's stuck at 12 years old, and he's old.
much older.
Yes.
Well, here's the thing, which I think bears appreciation for both movies, and of course, stemming from the book. It is very hard to redo a genre like this, like a zombie, or like a vampire, like a werewolf, like a Frankenstein. It's very hard to re envision a classic, foundation laden, really strong genre type. I give the credit to Lundquist completely because he reimagined with the laws of vampire as far as strength, needing blood, and basically being forever static in the age you returned.
Yeah.
So the implication that you have a child who will never in body form grow up. She's got ridiculous strength like a vampire. She's got
Well, she's a vampire.
powers and she's got savagery because she knows nothing else, and she's got hunger.
Well, it's all her whole purpose in life, and then the father purpose in life is to feed, is to get that. That's one that we hadn't even mentioned yet. That his whole
Yeah.
sole purpose is to feed her,
So he
basically,
has to kill
which is
people.
which is really fucked up.
So
He
blood,
goes
bleed
and he goes and kills people.
gallons of blood.
Exactly. And the thing is, he's done it for so long. So either he's a fuck up, or throughout the movies, both movies, you can see how bad he messes up all the time.
Yes.
But she gets so mad at him, which
But
is
yes, he's turning older though.
mm,
Now, here's the golden question.
right.
What happened from then till now that she didn't turn him?
It's a good question. My guess,
Knowing that he will get old and one day die, she won't. Unless he begged not to be turned, but he will be her lackey, familiar, whatever name you want to call it. Because he's getting to a point in both movies, and
probably my
especially in the
guess,
first movie, where he is physically older, pain, physical limitations, eyesight, you name it.
my guess
He'll
would
go
be.
out, kill people, and bleed them out.
Well, I mean, my guess would
Don't
be that
last long.
at least more in the original, because I kind of get the feeling and I accept more that love aspect than in
Yes.
the sequel, or the remake. That she loved him so much that she wasn't going to do that to him.
Exactly. I agree with you. I think that's the premise that is understated. It's indirect, but it's there, where she does love him so much that she doesn't want to curse him with the same uh, destiny she's been cursed with. And I just think in the first movie, it was so well done in a subtle subtext way, where I think they have the record player and they have some old newspaper articles. You could tell, what is this young girl listening to very dated music and looking at very dated books, because and you feel a little bit bad for her because she's forever stuck at that age, not even sure if her mind grows.
That's one thing that kind of bothered me, is the fact that, okay, we don't know exactly how old she is in the remake. You kind of figure it out, because I think it's like the 30s or something. I think one of the pictures that Owen sees, the kid sees, and I think it's said, I could be wrong, but it's in the 30s or whatever. So she's got to be, now. Did her brain mature, or it stayed at 12, even though she's been around for so many years? Okay. And would it bother her the fact that she's, let's say, 80 years old, and she's dating, or she has these feelings for a 12-year-old, you know, boy, not a grown man whom she had a relationship with previously for the last 70 years?
I think as the movie plays out and you see her needs, and you see her protect the boy, the new friend, the soon to be um, groomed protector, whatever you want to call it. She has instinctual emotional feelings of protection, friendship, and loyalty. But little subtle things of how she enjoys conversation with him, not with an older person. I think emotionally, she's never going to grow.
Yeah, and there's another key part, because in both movies, he says something to the effect of, "I don't want you to see that boy tonight," and she just looks at him and then touches his face, like saying, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Thanks, but no thanks, Dad, quote unquote. And And at first, when I first saw it years ago, I'm thinking, oh, he's just being quote unquote fatherly. But no, he's almost in a way sees what's happening, and he sees that the kid is gonna end up being him in the future if it continues. And
But
obviously,
he's conflicted
yeah, because
because
of course he loves her.
he loves her, but at the same time he realizes show's almost over for him.
Yeah.
And either he loves her enough to pass the torch,
Well,
or
that's why he had his contingency plan. I mean, if he got caught, he was gonna kill himself, off himself, basically. You know?
yeah, well, that saves him, but doesn't save her.
No, no. Well, he figures that she should be fine regardless. I mean, no.
I say yes, I say no. I think part of him is a little bit relieved that there is a change of the guard, because if not, and she would be fine on her own, before getting to this critical point of his age, I think he would have cut bait.
He does say in the remake, "I'm tired. I can't see well.
Yes.
You know, I'm tired.
He
I'm
can't do
tired.
this no more. He can't hunt no
Maybe,
more.
maybe I messed up on purpose, indirectly. Maybe I wanted to get caught." He says all these things to her, and she's like taken aback, and it's like, "You're
Well,
gonna help me? You're not
here's
gonna
the
help me."
thing, here's the thing for everybody to consider. Let's say he did grow up with her. Let's say he grew up in love with her. Let's
Yes.
say all of us grow up and love the person that we were young with, and it seems like the dream relationship. People still grow. People grow apart. People grow up. People meet other people. At some point, do you look yourself in the mirror and go, I love this person so much, I have now killed countless numbers of human beings who did not deserve to die, who never wronged me, just so that she can live? How many times do you think it possibly crossed his mind? Which I was kind of disappointed they never did this in maybe a dream sequence or a moment of doubt, where enough, kill himself, but before he kills himself, kill her. Put her out of her misery. Put her out of her curse. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but we don't know. We don't know the specifics of her vampirism, whether she was born this way or she was turned this way. We don't know.
Way, either
It's
way,
just
either way, either way, you're gonna go soon. The light is getting fader and lighter, and the pinpoint far away. It's almost over. You're not going on with her. You're not being turned all of a sudden. If she turns you, she's gonna turn you into an old man forever. You have, I think he's gotten to those moments. He look himself in the mirror and he's like, man, I killed a lot of fucking people for her. And it's not just because she asked me to. It's her survival.
yeah.
I love her. But I've done all these bad, horrible things. And now I'm at a point where I've lived my whole life doing this. And if I go, she's still going to live her life doing this. When I think the Romeo and Juliet thing to do is, I'm going to stake her in the heart, put her out of her misery, and I'm going next to blow my brains out.
Yeah. I mean, that is something that a lot of us would end up freaking doing instead of all of this craziness. It makes no sense.
But I get it. I
I
get
get
it. As much as he's strong enough to kill other people, he's not strong enough to do that. And which is why it basically, the torch is passed.
yeah. Now
And
let's move on to the actual relationship between Oscar and Ely and Owen and Abby. You know, Ely says it. Well, I think actually they both say it, that they're the same. He would kill someone if he could, and she kills people. So in essence, all they're similar creatures, which is that's how they were attracted to one another. Because she even in the beginning she goes in both movies, of course, we can't be, we can't be friends, and he warns her. I mean, she warns him. I mean, I'm not a girl, and he's like, well, okay. I mean, what does that mean? He goes, and then in the American version, she goes, oh, I don't know what I am. Well, in the Swedish version, the original version, that's not even mentioned. And yeah, it's crazy how similar both films are, both dialogues are. I know the same writer wrote it and everything, but it kind of you would think that there would be more distinct differences, you know.
Well,
And
and yeah, that's just the thing. If you're going to remake a movie, there should be some wholesale changes there. Otherwise, why are you remaking a movie unless you think you can do it, saving 90% of the dialogue and action sequence, but you're going to do better than the original?
well, let's go with that. The differences, one of the major differences between the American version and the original is the fact that there's a lot more gore in Let Me In as opposed to Let the Right One In. Maybe it's catered to, more the horror, like that more the gore hound, the blood spattering, and even the way when she feeds, how it's all like animalistic and contorted, and it's like obviously CGI'd. While the original was more,
Have that at all.
yeah, it was more
The original,
animal.
I mean, she doesn't. She's strong, but you don't have these growing fangs and these Wolverine like nails, and you don't have any of that stuff. She just feeds.
Exactly.
And you're right. It's more of a cutaway illusion scene, or her back's to you, or you see blood. You don't see the howling. You don't see the metamorphosis. You don't see the change. Now I get it. As a horror fan myself, such as you,
Yes.
there are moments where you live for that in the movie. The Evil Dead, you live for the hand. You live for the creepiness. You live for the. But the mastery of horror movies, like an Evil Dead, is the most terrifying scenes are the camera running through the forest as the wind or the evil spirit and smoke and leaves turning and the sound of shrieking. You don't actually see it. Psycho. For everybody out there who's taking a horror filmmaking class 101, you never see the knife penetrate Janet Leigh's body.
Hey, in Black Christmas,
It's the blood coming afterwards, the
you
scream in the
never
shadow.
see 1 ounce of blood.
So, but Gore I get because I love the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. One of the best movies. One of the best movies. And in Texas Chainsaw, you got Leatherface. He's chopping butcher blocks. You got the old grandfather at the table trying to hammer the girl. You got blood and guts. You got people getting torn up by a chainsaw everywhere. And that adds to the suspense and the nature of the cult family and everything's in there. That's where I believe Gore is appropriate
Right.
and enriches the movie experience.
No, definitely.
Here, I'm not sure it helps because I'm jumping the gun. I am much more impressed by the first movie than the second.
Yeah.
Because the first one to me was more chilling and more to the bone of, yeah, a little bit of a dramatic love story type of situation, but it was getting you into the head of the boy and the girl and where they are in life and what they want to do with the curse parameters they're set with. The
Yeah.
boy's been picked on left and right and center, and I don't want to spoil anything, but now's the time. Might as well just bring it up. For me, the icing on the cake in the movie because it builds up so well as far as all the implications of what's happening and getting caught, and you have to kill for her, and she has to feed the scene, the swimming pool
Oh,
scene.
the climax of the film, the ending sequence.
And you don't see the head being chopped off, but you see the head drop into the pool. To me, that's right there. That's Mount Everest right there in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, look at the difference in the original. The head, you see it in the background in the distance, as opposed to how in the American version the head just pops right in front of him, like your typical
Well, the
horror
American
movie
version
trope.
wants to have that shock value,
Well,
and
yeah, but I mean,
I'm not
it's
sure
unnecessary. I mean, I guess look,
necessary.
if I had not seen the original and I watched the remake, I would
Yeah, I
probably
like it.
really enjoy the remake. But the
Right.
original, I mean, as good as the acting was in the newer one, I believe these two 12-year-old kids or whatever age they were to be in love, to have this strong relationship. And I believe how dark and macabre the whole thing is, how this kid has been pushed to the brink by these bullies and everything, that he would actually go and kill someone. And how she is in love with him, yet she would have her, like I said before, her lover before, do all these crazy things, and then she can't control herself. So animalistic in nature that she destroys everything, kills so many people, and at the end, it's gotten so bad that she has to leave. But she comes back. Why? To save his life.
That's why, to me, the story of these two is fantastic. It's a poor vampire girl who's not with a family. It's not with an allegiance or a whole house. It's not with Dracula. There's no telecommunication. She's been alone, and it's great that we don't know her origin story. We know enough, but we don't know how she turned, if she was born that way, whatever. But she's been alone and stuck at that age.
All she said, like, and when
And
he asked her, he said, "How old are you?" And she goes, "I'm 12." And then he's like, "Okay, you're 12. Well, you never had a birthday?" She goes, "No, I never celebrated a birthday." She goes, "I've been 12 for a long time."
yeah,
That's it. We don't know. We have no idea. In the remake, it's kind of alluded to. You see an older picture, and they kind of throw it in your face. Oh, by the way, this guy was this, and this is her and him when they were kids.
exactly.
You know?
And good thing you brought that up. To me, a beautiful horror movie is one that still accomplishes fright like you wouldn't believe, but does not answer all the questions.
100%.
I love it because you're still guessing, why did that happen? Oh, how come they didn't do this? Oh, holy cow. Oh, there's just something more to it. You still keep the mystery abound. And I think the first one does it far better than the second one. And the first one, by far, builds up suspense and drama and gets you feeling for the characters more than the second one. I just think it is not super superior, but it's a better movie. If the second was made to cater to the American crowd, or maybe a more gore
Yeah,
hungry
but see,
crowd.
but that annoys me because a great movie is a great movie is a great movie. Whether it's freaking from wherever it is, whether it's low budget, whether it's high budget, whether it's a different language. If it's good, it's good, man. I mean, and this is no knock to Let Me In. It's a very good movie, you know. I mean, hey, and I would even say one thing it did better, which is another difference, was how the subplot with the other person who gets turned, the girl, which I do believe in the remake, she's Virginia. Her name is Virginia, I do believe. Yes. While in the original, she was Ginia, yeah, Ginia, I think her name is. And they have similar things. How once the father is has already died and given himself up, she has to go on her feet on her own, and she freaking gets sloppy, and she goes and attacks. In both movies, she attacks a lady, and she attacks this girl, and then she stopped. So she doesn't kill her as she normally does. She normally doesn't turn anyone. She feeds and then kills them. This time, she messed up and she survives. So in both movies, goes crazy. They turn and then they blow up in the most awesome way possible in the hospital. You know, which is pretty cool.
Either way, there are some subtle differences, and like you have mentioned in the beginning, in the onset of this, there is they adhere to a solid core body of dialogue and action.
Yeah.
It's just a different way that different artistic directors present it to us. Both movies, in my opinion, are stellar, fantastic, post 2000 vampire movies, with super more complex and very rich characters than previous vampire movies, where it's pretty linear, one-dimensional. I love both. No bones about it. I love the first one, Let the Right One In, more than the second remake. Although second remake is quite good, better than many movies out there.
Oh, it is. I
You
mean,
know,
heck, it's the same movie to a degree. It's the same movie, just you know,
different cast.
yeah. The earnestness is just a little lacking with
All right, so shall
So
we get to the bloody stakes?
yes, bloody
I will. I
knives
will.
from
I
one
will
to
let you
five.
have it first.
I give Let the Right One In, the original, 5 bloody knives. I think it is.
Wow, the unprecedented, hard to achieve 5.
I think it is a superior movie, let alone horror movie. One of my favorites of all time. I can watch it all the time. It's an excellent film. While Let Me In is very good, and I would give it 4 bloody knives. That's me.
Well, there you have it, folks. Izzy's rating basically ripped off mine, and we did not have any prior meeting of the minds or mind
Great
on
mind.
this topic. But I must agree, I cannot disagree. I thought the Let the Right One In is a superb, top flight, instant classic movie with the 5 bloody stakes, and no knock and no need for embarrassment. But the reimagined remake, whatever you call it, Let Me In, gets 4 bloody stakes. Both superior movies to most other horror movies. Both movies have depth and done well, executed well, and provide something for every horror fan out there. 5 and 4. You bend the knee to the original, like in most cases. If you haven't watched it, guys, this is the month to watch it, enjoy it, relish in it. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, please let us know what you guys think as soon as you watch it. You know, click on the old video, click on the old podcast, check it out, and let us know what you guys think.
And again, thank you all for this month of October, which is our month, Halloween month. We've let 1 minute reviews in our IG page, and we're trying to bombard with a bunch of battle of the horror movies
That's
on
it.
our Facebook page. Like and subscribe. Send us your thoughts and any ideas and suggestions you have. We are planning a great Smashing Pumpkin challenge, some trick-or-treat goodies, and Halloween festive events for this month. I mean, let's
Continuing 31 Dead Air Dudes, 31 Days of Horror. Continue. And for that, thank you, Dead Air Dudes Nation. I'm Izzy.
I'm Raka. Save the whales. Have a good night. Sleep well.
And stay spooky. Take care.